The Indiana Fever lost their second preseason game to the Dallas Wings 95-80, but two bombshells dropped after the game that proved this team is ready to dominate when it matters. Caitlin Clark scored 21 points in just 16 minutes despite the loss, and Aaliyah Boston just got cleared to return for Saturday's game against Nigeria. Add in the fact that Clark's scary injury turned out to be nothing serious, and suddenly this preseason loss looks a lot less important. Let me break down what just happened and why Fever fans should be more excited than worried.
As Clark gets by Beckers and gets to the rim. Lana Smith struggled to pull it down, and it's Clark who sets sail for the other end.
The final score wasn't what Indiana wanted, Dallas 95, Fever 80. But if you watched the game, you saw something that matters more than a preseason result. Caitlin Clark dominated. 21 points in 16 minutes. 4 of 6 from the field, 11 of 13 from the free throw line, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. That's not just good, that's efficient. That's elite. And it happened in a game where the Fever were missing Aliyah Boston and Lexi Hull, where they were testing rotations and giving bench players extended minutes, where the final score was secondary to getting players ready for the regular season. Clark played like someone who's fully healthy and ready to remind the league why she's the most watched player in the WNBA. The rust from the first preseason game was gone. The shots were falling, the free throws were automatic, and the pace was back. But here's where it gets interesting. Early in the third quarter, Clark went down hard after being fouled by Dallas forward Lana Smith. Smith attempted to block Clark's three-point shot, but didn't leave proper space for the shooter to land. Clark appeared to land on Smith's foot before both players fell to the floor. The refs reviewed the play and upgraded the foul to a flagrant one. Clark was visibly limping. She made 2 of 3 free throws. Then she walked off the court and didn't return to the game, and Fever fans everywhere held their breath. Because this is exactly what happened last season. Clark got injured. The team tried to manage it, and she ended up missing most of the year. So when she limped off the court on Thursday night, the collective anxiety was real. But then the first bombshell dropped. Clark is fine.
Obviously, I thought the refs did a really good job tonight on it, actually, and that's kind of been their focus going into this season is, you know, I know there was a committee of people that really wanted them to start calling things, and I thought they did a great job of that, honestly. I thought the refs were great, and
bothering you?
I just landed on my kneecap really hard.
Clark landed hard on her kneecap. It hurt. She limped off the court, but there's no structural damage, no sprain, no tear, no long-term concern. She's not on the injury report for Saturday's game against Nigeria. Stephanie White confirmed after the game that pulling Clark was mostly precautionary. The plan was always to limit her minutes. And when she took that hard fall, it made sense to shut her down rather than risk anything in a meaningless preseason game.
And for her to come out about that time anyway. You know, it was just extra precaution, I think, you know, getting her out in that moment. But yeah, I mean, the plan was for her to start the third quarter and then we get her out quickly.
Think about what that means. The Fever aren't taking chances, they're managing minutes. They're protecting their franchise player, and they're prioritizing the long term over a preseason result. That's what smart organizations do. If you want breakdowns like this on the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark, and everything happening in the WNBA, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Now let me show you the second bombshell that changes everything. Aaliyah Boston is back. After missing both preseason games with a lower leg injury, Boston has been cleared to play Saturday against Nigeria. She's not on the injury report. She's fully healthy, and she's ready to return. This is massive, because the Fever have been playing without their second best player for 2 weeks. They've been testing rotations with Monique Billings and Maisha Hines, Allen filling in at center, and while both have played well, neither is Aliyah Boston. Boston is a 3-time All-Star, and the owner of the richest contract in WNBA history. She averaged 15 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 3.7 assists last season on 53.8% shooting. She finished 6th in MVP voting while carrying the Fever through an injury-plagued year. When she's on the floor, the Fever are a different team. The offense runs through the paint. Clark has a legitimate inside-out threat to work with, and the rebounding improves dramatically. Without her, the Fever have been outsized and out-toughed in both preseason games. Stephanie White admitted after Thursday's loss that Dallas crushed them on the glass, that they got out-toughed, that the urgency wasn't there, and a big part of that is Boston's absence.
I thought our urgency wasn't there. No, we let them move the ball and move themselves really wherever they wanted to. I didn't feel like we had a sense of urgency. I felt like we were disconnected on the defensive end of the floor. We weren't moving when the ball moves. And then we were standing watching. I mean, they crushed us on the glass. I thought we got out-toughed. I thought that their levels of effort or levels of urgency, I should say, was different than ours. And we can't have that.
Now think about Saturday's game against Nigeria. Boston returns, Clark is healthy, and the Fever get one more preseason game to work out the kinks before the regular season starts on May 9th. That's exactly what preseason is for. Because here's the reality, the Dallas loss doesn't matter. What matters is that Clark looked dominant in limited minutes. What matters is that Boston is cleared to return. What matters is that the Fever have a full week after Saturday's game to prepare for the regular season opener against this same Dallas team. And when that game happens, it's going to look very different. Boston will be on the floor. Lexi Hull will be back from her hamstring injury. The rotations will be set and the intensity will be real. But there's one more thing worth mentioning. Raven Johnson, the rookie point guard who's been a revelation in both preseason games. She logged 21 minutes against Dallas, 3 points, 5 assists, and 5 steals. And she's showing exactly why the Fever drafted her. Clark talked about Johnson after the game, and what she said matters.
Like I remember when I was a rookie, and the terminology is like the hardest thing to kind of understand. Like the WNBA is a completely different style than what you play in college, and I think also coach, like there's veterans around or people that have played in coach's system for a while, and that like she expects that of us to help the younger players, and that's what we're gonna do, and that's what we want to do, and
This is what leadership looks like. Clark is only 24 years old. She's entering her 3rd season, but she's already mentoring rookies. She's answering questions. She's helping Johnson learn the system. And she's building the culture that championship teams need. Because the Fever aren't just trying to win games this season. They're trying to build something sustainable. A culture where veterans support rookies. Where players ask questions without fear. Where the team comes before individual stats. And that's harder to measure than points or rebounds. But it's what separates good teams from great ones. Now let's talk about what the Dallas loss actually revealed. Because despite the final score, there were real issues. The Fever were disconnected defensively. They over-dribbled on offense. They tried to make home run plays instead of easy ones, and they got out-rebounded badly. Stephanie White didn't sugarcoat any of it. She said the urgency wasn't there, that Dallas wanted it more, that the Fever have to play better defense. And she's right. But she also knows this is preseason, that half the rotation is new, that Clark and Sophie Cunningham both missed most of last season, that chemistry takes time, and that the real games don't start until May 9th. The Fever have one more preseason game on Saturday. Boston returns, Clark is healthy, and they get a full week after that to prepare for Dallas in the regular season opener. And here's what makes that matchup so compelling. Paige Bueckers and Azzi Fudd, 2 number 1 overall picks, playing together for the first time in the WNBA, going up against Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston, also number 1 picks. On a team that made the semifinals last year, Clark and Bueckers went head-to-head on Thursday. Clark had 21 points in 16 minutes. Bueckers had 20 points in 20 minutes on 8 of 12 shooting. Both looked great, both were efficient, and both are going to be problems for opposing defenses all season long. But when May 9th comes around, the game will matter. Boston will be on the floor. Hull will be back, and the Fever will have their full roster ready to compete. The Indiana Fever lost to Dallas 95-80 in their second preseason game, but Caitlin Clark scored 21 points in 16 minutes and proved she's fully healthy. Aliyah Boston got cleared to return for Saturday's game against Nigeria. And the injury scare that sent Fever fans into panic mode turned out to be nothing serious. 2 bombshells, 2 reasons to be excited. And 1 week until the real games begin. What do you think? Are you worried about the preseason losses? Or are you focused on Clark's performance and Boston's return? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest on Caitlin Clark, the Fever, and everything happening in the WNBA. We'll see you in the next one.